This is going to be StyroPyro 100 car batteries wired in parallel. I'm sure this is safe. This is fine. And if anyone does this, dear God, do not copy what this man does. He's brilliant and he's smart and he knows exactly what he's doing. And even though he plays the mad scientist, he's very much definitely a mad scientist, but he's a mad scientist who knows proper safety precautions to survive said mad science. I am not, and if anyone like me tried to do this, we would be not alive very fast. Do not do this at home. Do not think about doing this at home. Hell, probably get someone else to jump your car if you need that. At my level of expertise, that is sometimes a requirement. Yeah. Let's pretend that's me being just maybe making a joke about my own expertise as opposed to an accurate statement of fact. That sounds reasonable. Either way, we're going to jump right in. You guys know the deal. Hit up the link and let's get started.
This video is sponsored by AnyDesk.
Is that one of those?
You ever wake up in the morning and ask yourself, what happens when you wire a...
Is it even safe to lay on that many batteries? Just like, what did that do? It's a good thing there's nothing wet to bridge a connection there.
100 car batteries in parallel. If so, you're in luck because that's exactly what I'll be doing today.
No, those have copper connections to all of them. Is he grounded or something?
By wiring all these in parallel, the voltage is going to be the same as a single battery, which is just a bit over 12 volts.
But...
Now I realize this seems lame compared to what...
Wait, really? Only 12 volts? Because it really matters on what the disconnect is. It could be very low voltage, but if it's high, anything else like amps or wattage, that could also be just as bad.
I usually show on this channel. But you see, this isn't a video about high voltage. Oh no, we're playing with fire today.
See that rating right there? That's how much current this battery can deliver for 30 seconds in freezing temps, and that's 850 amps. So, by wiring 100 of these in parallel, we're looking at 85,000 amps. Of course, cable and contact resistance is going to limit that somewhat, but I'm curious to see just how ridiculously high the current can get here. I mean, it's one thing to produce thousands of amps for a tiny fraction of a second. But what does it look like?
I'm sorry.
Thousands of amps for a tiny fraction of a second.
I'd like to point out, he is sitting on a bunch of batteries. That at a sustained amount.
What does it look like when you make even more than that over a few seconds? In fact, I'm hoping to achieve the current seen in a lightning strike with these batteries. The most daunting engineering task for this project was coming up with a way to switch these massive currents, particularly one that can break the circuit when tens of thousands of amps are flowing through it. I settled on modifying a log splitter, mostly because it can rip apart contacts that weld themselves together.
Now the best part about this switch...
I'm only going to ask this because I have a sneaking suspicion someone in the comments might know this. Who suggested this to him? Who put the idea of this in his head? Because normally he's very laser focused or horrible thing focused. Who specifically thought, what would happen if you put all the batteries together? This seems like someone's random comment that he's like, I can run with this. And how do we get that person to never make those comments again?
is that you load it like a crossbow. So let me show you this beautiful mechanism here. So I gotta yank this back while feeding it this pin. It's not very easy. Let me just show you. Okay, so now it's loaded, and I have to feed it this actuator so it can yank out that pin. Let me just show you. You can see the actuator there that yanks out that pin. So now, when I hit this yeet switch,
yeet and frick,
those contacts slam together. And then if I have some catastrophic failure and need to kill power, I just press this frick button here to rip apart those plates. Oh, and I also have to yank the string at the same time. Seems safe enough, right?
Isn't that kind of slow?
Now, I don't want to bore you with numbers, I feel like it's important to give you a sense of the
But he had it specifically done for something that could pull apart welded together things. So it's slow, but it's probably very powerful.
crazy scale that I'm dealing with here. That bank holds an incredible 320 megajoules of energy. That means that if one of those batteries fails short, the energy equivalent of 500 cars screaming down the highway would get dumped into it all at once, which would probably make a sizable crater. I really hope that doesn't happen.
At what point does he intentionally make one fail just to see how big the crater is? Oh, I don't. Okay. We're doing it.
Now I could go on and on about how clinically insane this is. I should
Yeah.
let the rest of the video do the talking here. I will say that you definitely shouldn't play with car batteries. I mean, even one can mess you up if you abuse it enough. So yeah.
Like
don't try
laying
this
on
at
them
home.
like a bed?
For the first test, I'm going to try a piece of 1/4-inch threaded steel rod. This should be easy to melt, but the small size will probably limit the current somewhat.
How much before it glows? Okay, there it goes. It's sparking.
It looks like the connection broke there. I mean, it is only 12 volts, so nearly anything can break the circuit here. I went ahead and smacked the threads with a hammer a bit to hopefully give more area of contact.
Oh, it's at night. We can see it better because of more highlighted brightness.
It was slower than I hoped, but I did like the green flames from the zinc plating burning off.
He just made an incandescent bulb with car batteries and then melted the steel. This is the first test.
Here I have a 3/8-inch threaded rod. Now this has over double the area of the last rod, so it should pass quite a bit more current.
Here we go.
Oh, his camera got better for this shot.
Look at that.
Oh shit, he actually recorded this in 4K? Shit. That is... I wonder if there's actually someone who saw this and like, huh, you know, we could do a lot of metalworking with it this way. Because it seems like someone's going to get an idea off this.
Wow.
That's one way to instantly make metal moldable.
Cool. I think that one was just as fast, if not faster.
Let's try zapping some ferrocerium.
I don't even know what
This
that
is the
is.
metal alloy that makes up modern lighter flints. It
Oh!
makes a bunch of sparks when it's ground down. I'm hoping it
Yoink.
makes even more sparks with these batteries.
What? What? Isn't conductive? It's during the day, so it won't be nearly as brilliant to glow. Oh, shit!
Oh, it just exploded.
Maybe a bigger rod will give even more sparks.
Whoa!
There we go.
Can we all just acknowledge the fact that he's doing something that he knows is going to explode next to the car batteries? There's no shielding separating it. Apparently, he's very confident that they won't ignite the batteries or damage the batteries in such a way where they can catastrophically fail after this. Also, having looked up the price of those cameras he's using, yeah, I would not do that. I would have way more zoom involved.
Ha! I'll take that as a yes.
Unfortunately, it didn't actually burn all the way through there.
Gosh, it's just so hard to keep contact with the voltage being so
It's
low.
still sparking
You guys just
and
need
breaking
more
down
weight.
as he hits it.
This is a kilogram ingot of bismuth metal. It's super dense and melty, so I'm hoping it will keep enough contact to melt all the way through.
One of the things you could do with melted bismuth is actually those videos you can see every now and again on YouTube where someone puts a like nail or something else metal on top of a looks like melted sheet. It's because they have bismuth in it or some other. Actually, I thought it was bismuth, but it could be something else. Where they basically just pull it out and have instantly crystallized metal. Although now that I'm saying that again, I could be mistaken. Maybe it wasn't bismuth that did that, but it was a different liquid metal.
Well, that was...
Did you see that? It melted through the metal until it lost contact with the top plate. And it started to melt over here too. It explosively melted all around it. Instant vaporization of metal. And Circuit, you mentioned that you believe Michael Reeves asked him to do this. Yeah, that makes sense. I know enough about Michael Reeves to realize that out of everyone in there, StyroPyro might do the weirdest shit. Michael Reeves is the one who would consider the even worse shit.
Well, that was
and
messy.
not always realizing
It
these safety
splattered molten
precautions.
metal all over the place, although a lot of it was unmelted. It still made a nice puddle, though. Plus, the oxide layer on the remaining ingot is super colorful. I want to try zapping this half-inch bolt, but this time I'm going to measure the current through it by looking at the voltage drop across the cables. Here we go.
It's only sparking. Oh, shit!
Yes!
So, it was actually moving due to the force from the sparks getting it down. And then it actually started melting, but it was actually the rod itself that started melting out of the bolts.
It took a while for it to secure contact, but once it did, it melted pretty quickly. The oscillogram is noisy, but once it made full contact, there was a drop of about 180 millivolts there. Now this is across a mere 16 millionths of an ohm, which means the current there was about 11,000 amps. Not bad. Let's give this saw blade a try. It's nice and flat and conductive. It should pass a substantial amount of current.
It should melt pretty fast, wouldn't it? Does it glow before it melts, or does it just spark off and explode? Oh, hell! It immediately disintegrated.
I was hoping it would explode or something.
It kind of did.
Well. The current there was higher, a peak of 15,000 amps. Now that's probably near the limit without making some modifications to the circuit.
What?
Now if I can do 15 kiloamps for a few seconds...
He knows how to make the modifications to the circuit to make it more. I'm not even going to finish that sentence. I'm just going to leave it at more and let everyone else fill in the horrible, horrible details. Okay. Good to know. I'm now terrified.
Seconds. Now that would be pretty crazy. And it might be possible with this 3/4 inch bolt here. Here we go.
It's probably going to melt, but... It actually forced itself out.
For as easy as it is for wires to short when you don't want them to, it's been bafflingly difficult to hold a short across these batteries.
He almost needs to build like a ceramic holding plate in there to keep them from falling out.
Everything just keeps blowing out of place. I've tried using all sorts of clamps and different materials, but the results are all the same. Everything breaks contact. So this bank is scary. However, its voltage is not. And that's why I can do this and not feel anything. And besides, at only 15,000 amps, I haven't even hit the current of the average lightning strike yet. Are you telling me?
Because it's such low wattage that it doesn't really matter if he touches. So he is passing it through himself.
Some clouds can do better than 100 car batteries? So, is it time to throw all these batteries in the ocean? Nope, not yet.
Finding Nemo is going to have
using a higher voltage will overcome these problems. So I rewired the bank for a series parallel arrangement.
Why is that moth on there?
Now there are chains of 5 batteries in series, then all of those are wired in parallel. This makes the fully charged bank sit at a little over 60 volts. Let's start the 60 volt experiments with another 3/8 inch steel rod.
So he decided we have enough amps, let's up the voltage. Okay. We already saw this one just melted and they're clamped down. My guess is the clamps fail.
Here we go.
Or not. I'm sorry, did that actually... Yeah, you could actually see the moment right after the first flash. It is already white hot right there. And it looks like it's falling out as it goes with the secondary flash because they didn't break the connection. And yeah, no, it's gone. No, it looks like it melted into a puddle down here on the concrete. It forcefully ejected itself. Oh no, there's still a little piece in here that's connected still. It instantly liquefied and melted across the cinder block. Okay.
Holy heck. That exploded.
The slow-mo shows something astonishing here. The rod heated so quickly
It ignited
that its zinc
the
coating
air.
boiled off faster than it could burn. And then when the rod finally exploded, it left a cloud of greenish plasma as
Oh.
the zinc vapor reacted with the oxygen in
And it didn't actually liquefy, it just happened to bend around it, okay. With more camera coverage you could see that, but goddamn.
the air. Comparing this to what happened at 12 volts, it's clear there's substantially more current at 60 volts. Sure enough, I clocked a peak of 30,000 amps, which so happens to be the current of the average lightning strike. I still think I can do better though. Let's see what happens when I try a half-inch bolt.
Oh, that just... Oh, it's still live.
I guess those little clamps weren't enough. I've upgraded to some big boy clamps this time.
Didn't he have these in the previous strike? Yeah, he must have done that one first because he has these clamps here. No, he has two different clamps, that's why.
So hopefully this does the job.
Damn.
You
I'll
almost
take
need
that as a
something else in
no.
there.
Yeah, that bolt really does not want to stay in those blocks. In fact, let's take a look here. Yeah, look at that. It just leaves like a big crater of splattering
God damn.
molten steel and copper. Wow.
It busted the nut on
Let's
the
see if
end.
quad clamping it will hold it in place.
It's not completely gone yet.
Heck. This was easier at 12 volts.
It didn't melt
What's
his...
going on here? Slow-mo shows the increased current has introduced a new problem. These blocks are getting ripped apart by the gayest force field in physics, the magnetic field. Now,
Oh!
what's so gay about magnets? It turns out, opposites don't always attract like you might think. Yeah, when you consider magnetic dipoles, north attracts south and vice versa. However, if you look at currents that give rise to those fields, you'll see the reverse happens to them. Opposite currents repel, and like currents attract.
Oh, I didn't even know that was possible. So he's literally creating a magnetic block. How does he... Oh, okay. Wow. He inverted the magnetic principles to cause this failure.
Now this has a lot of interesting consequences in physics. It's why lightning pinches itself into a fine streamer, and it's also
Oh.
the basis of experimental Z-pinch fusion reactors. In this circuit, it causes the aligned cables to bunch up, while repelling the cables carrying current in the opposite direction, and this is what's ripping apart the copper blocks.
And you can even see where he's forcing them together to hold them together. Wait, this is the basis of a type of experimental fusion. Is he accidentally creating a prototype fusion experiment? Because he's forcing, or he's attempting to force the magnetic fields to interact with it, or actively trying not to? I don't think it's what it's going to turn into, but it kind of sounds like he's accidentally falling into it.
In an attempt to fix this issue, I brought in two of the leading experts in crackhead engineering, Alan Pan and the backyard scientist.
Oh, God.
So you can see I've already tried blowing this thing up before, but like the current is so gigantic and the magnetic field is so huge that like it doesn't want to stay on the block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanna see what this does.
Yeah. It's like you may not be safe, but like we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it.
I just want to throw out there, if StyroPyro tells you it's not going to be safe, this is where you should not be in this state. Oh, God. I mean, you're just... Yep, this is fine.
It's like an inch thick.
Oh yeah, it's literally an inch thick. We're gonna take this bad boy.
Oh, so that just, oh my god.
But the thing is, these huge clamps, they're not enough. it's not. It's the.
You almost
the
need a
force of
secondary
currents
clamp
are just
across
so
it,
big.
but that would bridge it with metal probably.
I want to put this last clamp on.
Unless you... The only thing I can think of is if he actually got two massive boulders, essentially, to hold it in place with something non-conductive.
Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah. This is completely insane.
This is deranged.
This is like.
This is
so
where you
bad.
probably
Just-
need more than just this.
All right, everyone ready?
Oh, they're hiding behind the drum can.
Yeah. Ready?
All right, here we go.
Oh!
Yeah.
See, it blew out of there again. It blew it out.
You could actually see the little piece of, I think it's the copper block.
Blew it out.
Yeah, I think the block actually just shattered. You could see it rolling away down here.
It blew it out. Do you see that? How that was? Do you see the brown smoke?
Yeah.
That's copper vapor.
Really?
Yeah. Yes.
I didn't know you could vaporize copper. Of course, StyroPyro would be the person who could do it by accident. And Patrick, you mentioned he already made a small fusion reactor, you're pretty sure. Damn.
That was like a firework from
Like it
hell.
all shot out sideways.
Yeah, but the contact broke in like a fraction of a second.
Wait, is it safe to look up close?
Sorta.
So the bolt is actually still there.
Yeah, so that's the problem here. Is the
Moves it.
Everything
across,
he's doing
Yeah,
right now
so there's
probably
two
terrified
issues.
someone.
So it explodes, and but also the magnetic field is all opposing and it yanks it apart. So like it barely held on. Like how would you fix this? Like how would you guys
Run away screaming.
find a way to actually keep things on the block and blow up? How would you do it?
I think
You almost need to just get some custom fitted, well, rocks at this point.
I could do it.
Well, how would you do it?
I could do it.
Oh, you just could, yeah.
I just.
Oh,
Oh,
just fall
God.
into place, of course, yeah.
Dude, I
Gravity
don't
ain't the
know.
strong
If you,
force, I
like,
am.
Like drill some holes in
Technically
the
it's the
copper
weak force.
blocks and like through bolt it to a piece of wood or something like a 2x6 and just force them in
Maybe.
position.
You might be able to.
I feel like you don't want to keep everything in position. I'm scared. Like if
Yeah.
everything was locked down, I'm scared of what could happen.
Sure.
Like
But like, I want to see that bolt explode. I
Like
want to see
red
it
hot
explode.
and,
Yes.
like, yeah.
And melt.
At some
yeah.
point,
just
it's
kind of
almost like the
bolted
copper
into a
connectors
piece
would be
of
ripped
wood,
off.
Like on the same piece of wood, right?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, okay, that's what you were saying.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you have the whole
Yeah, it's
mechanism
like,
and
it's
bolted
like
together.
one piece of
But
wood.
would be
that's-
strong
that's
enough?
a
I mean,
good
if you got
idea.
ironwood, definitely.
Like I was just expecting like melting and explosive stuff, but not a magnetic force. That's insane. I do like the block of wood idea.
The German word for horror and respect.
Oh, yeah.
whatever that word is.
Yeah.
Before attempting to bolt everything down to a block of wood, we decided to stick a couple cans of 1,2-dimethylethane on the apparatus.
Why?
You ready for
They
this?
actually brought out a folding table for
don't usually
cover.
wear
Oh, of
safety
course. Truly, those are
Ready?
impenetrable.
All right, here we go.
It exploded out of both ends.
Oh, it's still
I'm gonna clear it off. All right.
Oh, it's gonna spark. Be careful.
Okay.
Why are you using a machete for this?
That was all the can.
Wow.
We tried sticking a can upright with the hope that it would act like a rocket. It turns out this worked just a little too well.
Whoa! It ended right there.
Is it still alive? Why are they walking towards it? Who's going to kick it first?
These fireballs were cool and all, but they also had the function of clearing out some of that annoying grass out in front of the batteries. I went ahead and mounted
Yeah, because only you can prevent forest fires by burning everything down first. Ha ha ha! This man is insane. I believe he understands what he's doing enough that he can do it safely. But if proof that he wasn't expecting the magnetic forces means he's not entirely all-knowing, maybe he should invest in better shielding in case things decide to go directly at him again. It didn't go bad, but also, I'm legitimately surprised nothing has exploded and punctured a battery to catastrophic effect at this point. Because why not?
With everything to a big block of wood. Now let's try another 1/2-inch bolt. Here we go.
Oh, the bolt itself just ripped out.
It just exploded off of there.
Ignited. It's still actually on fire too, shit.
That's terrifying.
Is it burning the
Look at
ground?
the remnants of that bolt there. They're welded on there. Wow, looks
Ever
like
seen
it
an
took
arc cutter
a
before?
quarter of a
I think we
second
just
for that to
did.
melt through. And yeah, it peaked at over 40,000 amps. That is insane.
The slow-mo shows two powerful magnetic effects here. There are the cables in back violently pinching themselves into a bundle, and also, there's the broken bolt fragment getting launched outward due to the magnetic forces on it.
Well, if the 1/2-inch bolt melts now, maybe the 3/4-inch bolt will melt too.
Oh, it's still there. Is it just melting slowly? Or is it still collecting heat?
It melted through. Wow, that is really
Oh no, it
melted
literally
on there.
shattered itself.
Interesting how it like hollowed out the nut there.
It hollowed out the nut and the bolt, so its connection would be broken. You can see the splatters of it around the entire side and underneath of it as well. It is. That. What the hell does a hardware
what's
store near
going
him
on.
ask?
My goodness. Yeah, that liquid steel really bonded to the copper there.
Yeah.
Look at
Okay,
this.
huh?
Jeez.
It's funny, because as I keep trying bigger loads, sparks get launched further and further, even beyond where I'm hiding for these shots. I figured these tests would be
Beyond?
intense, but they're already beyond my expectations.
This one's gonna be pretty crazy, I think. There's that bismuth ingot that I couldn't melt earlier. Here we go.
Is it
I thought
gone?
its own weight would be enough to hold it down, but clearly not.
Oh, so it just immediately
So I
shot
used these
itself
spring
off.
clamps to hold it down now. Here we go.
At what point do they become a problem because they're connecting? He lit the clamp on fire!
Holy heck. It made a huge mushroom cloud.
Ah!
There's not.
I'm sure that's the only time he's ever said, I've made a mushroom cloud. Oh god, look at that!
Not much of this thing left.
Also, you can see where this is literally starting to melt out the board from all this stuff on it.
It just splattered and vaporized all over the place. Wow.
I also managed to spray molten metal on the lenses of 2 of my cameras with that run.
Oh. I actually have the same camera as him, an A7. But here's the thing. The camera is expensive. That lens could be $10,000. Or more. The lenses get expensive.
Oops. At this point in the video, pretty much all the footage is terrifying. But even so,
Only at
is
this
probably
point!
the scariest shot so far.
What?
The batteries managed to take...
No. I had to have heard that wrong. I had to have heard that wrong.
But even so, this is probably the scariest shot so far.
Okay, that is the scariest shot so far. So far. Oh. Oh, so far implies it more. Yeah, that explains the runtime.
The batteries managed to take nearly an entire kilogram of metal and turn it into a cloud of vapor and liquid in a second. The droplets being shot out are so hot that they're burning in air, leaving little trails of smoke while raining burning molten metal on everything around it. Afterwards, I found bits of metal splattered on the trees, the sides of my shop, and even the table I was hiding behind. The impressive pyrotechnic display of the bismuth convinced me to try a stick of titanium as well.
I have no idea how conductive titanium is or if it'll just melt from the load. Also, I mentioned that could be a $10,000 lens. I just pulled up some basic prices. Apparently, most of them are closer to the $2,000. There's a bunch of different ranges. I went to the expensive side because that's probably what he's using. That looks like that's a $1,200 lens, if that's the one he's using right there. I'm not big on lenses because I technically use the cheap ones. But yeah, that is a very expensive lens. He just literally ejected metal into. It's gone. Oh no, it's still at the
Titanium is
bottom.
used in fireworks for making bright white sparks.
Oh
And
really?
it turns out it makes these beautiful sparks when being zapped by 100 car batteries as
Just
well.
shot itself out
Who
of
would
there.
have guessed?
In engineering, there's something called a crowbar circuit, and it's used to prevent
Crowbar?
an overvoltage from killing the rest of the device.
Oh?
Now, it got its name because it shorts the power supply,
Jumps
much
it.
like if you were to take a crowbar and throw it across the power rails. Now, I think it'd be fun to try the literal interpretation of this circuit.
I decided to start with a smaller crowbar here first.
Oh no. It actually ignited. And it held in place too.
Holy heck. That, came all the way back here. I had to dodge it.
This one gave a really cool oscillating effect as the
Also, the fact that having to say that you had to dodge the explosive metal, I don't. Why? Get some kind of. I don't. Normally, this is where I would say he's a professional and he knows how to dodge this, but this is. I'm sorry. What the hell?
crowbar kept breaking and then regaining contact, which made the resulting explosions especially violent. I threw in the bigger crowbar and this one burned through even faster. Here we go!
He lit the cords on fire. You can barely see it, but the cord is on fire over there.
Oh wow, the head of that crowbar. Oh my gosh, I just stepped on that and about burned through my shoe. Jeez.
Why are you stepping on it again?
Well, anyway, I was saying how the head of that crowbar there is just welded onto that. It's flattened and melted down. It's insane.
I tossed some magnets in the middle of the wire loop there, and you can see them jump once the current starts.
You can
Yeah,
see
I put
things
my
in
camera
that?
way too close for this shot. Now, something that sticks out to me here is when the crowbar finally burns through, and it shoots out a big plasma fireball. My bet is that inductive kickback is playing a role here.
20k joules of magnetic energy are released in an instant when the circuit breaks. And Joaquin Martinez, you're mentioning that StyroPyro lives in Illinois. Oh, good. I didn't want to go to Springfield or Chicago anyways. I can avoid those now. I'm just going to advise family members to get a little further away. Oh, God. Does it have like a StyroPyro warning or
I
something?
figure zapping a couple wrenches ought to be fun.
Pittsburgh?
Where's the leak, ma'am?
Let's start with a small
That is a
one.
very big wrench.
Alright, here we go.
It snapped in half.
This big one should be nice and scary.
Wow, that one got real toasty. Look how welded that thing is on there. Right here I have the biggest bolt that I could find at the hardware store. It's an inch in diameter and 10 inches long. I think this should be fun to zap with the car batteries. This is going to be crazy. I hope those clamps survive.
I'm just going to take a second to calm down and drink some coffee. There are phrases that you should be afraid of. One of them is StyroPyro going, "This is going to be crazy." And New Yorkster in the comments asked, You're surprised that none of those car batteries have burned out yet. Honestly, I'm surprised none of them have literally been lit on fire, considering other things around them have. From all of the liquid metal shooting everywhere, burning through things, jumping off the sides. Ugh. There is no way to look at this and not go, oh dear God, that's real. And be surprised that nothing has ignited on fire beyond a few bits of, admittedly, the cords carrying power and connections to everything.
That melts all the way through?
It's still on fire.
So, it just melted the steel around the threads there.
So it couldn't connect?
That's crazy. I didn't see that happen with the smaller bolts. So that's what kept it from melting all the way through. It's just floating in the middle. All right, I'm gonna try it.
Because the magnetic
without
force
the
would be
nut,
holding it
just the
at
bare
opposing of all
bolting
angles,
it.
maybe?
Here we go.
Oh shit, something's on fire over there.
Whoa! That was so loud. I don't even know what exploded there. It was the fuses that blew. Look at that. They melted straight through.
Oh shit, they actually came off.
Wow, that drew over 45,000 amps, and it did it for over a second. Well, at least
Sustained.
before the fuses exploded. That is bonkers.
So we have reached the point where literally the fuses blew after doing more than lightning for a full second.
I'm actually glad that the fuses exploded here, because it gives a
Oh dear God! I thought it was just down there at the connection point. No! Look at the machine holding the fuses together to create the circuit. It's exploding as much as anything else.
because it gives a cross-reference for the currents I'm measuring. The Priest fuse current equation predicts that a bank of 10 6-gauge wires in parallel will last a second at 50,000 amps before exploding. And that's pretty much what I just saw. I'm only surprised how loud it was. I upgraded the fuses to 4-gauge, but at this point the batteries are really being abused. So I'm going to do some other...
Only at this point? You know, there's a lot of times where I'm saying he's probably safe. I'm taking it back. I think this is one of those times where he is not playing to his strength, and he probably should be a lot further away. Or further away from things that could be ignited by all of the liquid metal, like said batteries.
experiments before trying the big bolt again.
You're probably wondering how well this battery bank works as a plasma cutter. Well, I am too, honestly. There's only one way to find out.
Well, back to his roots. Him in a microwave.
Wow. That works even better than I expected. Well, the ground connection melted there, so now I just have it sitting on that copper block. Let's give that another go.
What? Oh, he has to upgrade it still. He just went right through it.
Yeah, I think that'll do it. Let's try that with some steel that's a bit thicker.
What?
Oh, jeez. Come on. All right, let's try that again. I just want to cut it in half.
What is going on? What is actually going on? He actually tore through that. He basically made a metal lightsaber that actually worked exactly like it's described in the movies. Or shown in the movies. By cutting through metal to open a door. Look at that little doorway right there. You can pass right through it. Yeah. I'm going to file this under the I just don't file. There's a lot of I's and there's a lot of don'ts, and I'm just not going to just know this one. Just knowing. And knowing is half the battle.
Yeah, it's close enough.
It's cut to
Well, actually,
shape.
on second thought, let's cut it in half the other way.
What? Oh, that's also a thick door or cover as well. He just went right through it.
Wow. Wow. That was wild. Got a few sparks in my head there. Wow, that was fun. I've sprinkled some magnetite there inside that loop of wire. That way you can visualize the magnetic field.
Oh.
Yeah, it really sticks to those cables.
Whoa. Man,
I've placed the wire loop below a plastic tray for this shot. It's crazy how quickly the magnetite orients itself near the wire. But then again, the magnetic field here is probably a solid fraction of a Tesla. By attaching some LEDs to a coil of wire and placing it near the cables, I can get some rudimentary transformer action. Those LEDs are being wirelessly powered by the alternating magnetic field. I have this
didn't know you could
big
do
old
wireless
SCR
magnetic
here,
power.
which is a type of solid-state switch. I want to try popping it with the batteries. Here we go.
How much does he mean by pop?
As expected, nothing happens yet because the SCR is off and it holds back the battery voltage.
Oh,
Now let's do a little trolling and apply a signal to the gate.
what? Oh shit, it blew immediately.
It's funny because I'm used to silicon dying when looking at it wrong since I'm terrible at electronics. However, the SCR was unaffected by this. The
Really?
explosion was actually just the cables popping out of the contacts
Oh.
because they're only jammed in there. Let's give that another try.
Bolt theorem.
Wait, are you serious? Did it... I don't think that... What?
Did it survive?
I think it melted the bolt first.
Much to my amazement, the magnetic field shredded the whole setup before there was enough time for the SCR to pop, conducting an astonishing 45,000 amps. It's
You could actually see where it tears the wires apart from their blocks, too. I wonder if there's a way people actually specifically use
snapping
that.
one of the
I mean,
mounting bolts
fusion.
in the process. That is one tough piece of silicon. I mounted everything back in the wooden block to keep it in place. Let's try that again.
That block looks, or the block looks a little bit abused.
It
I
turns
think it's
out
dead, Jim.
The SCR had already failed short from the previous run, which is why it immediately blew up when the battery voltage was applied. This breaker says it can stop a 10 kiloamp fault. We'll see about that.
Alright, let's see how well this circuit breaker holds up.
Oh no. Immediately off.
Did it trip? Oh, let's see here. So it shows that it had a fault, but it may have actually worked. It may have actually stopped that. It did. Or did it not? I
How
think
do you
it's still
test
alive.
that?
Let's try it again. Yeah, it's welded to it now,
No, it looks like it's magnetic.
but it still tripped the circuit. That's impressive. I wasn't expecting that.
Really good
We zapped
battery
some magnesium, but the
breakers.
results weren't that impressive, relatively speaking. It melted too easily near the contact points and prevented burn through. So, I decided to try manually keeping contact.
What?
Oh, jeez.
That kind of looks fun in the most disturbing way possible. And you can see the embers igniting on top of the batteries.
That is crazy.
Let's try the same thing with ferrocerium.
It's literally explosions on command. I don't, this is, I do. Can we just take a second to acknowledge the fact that nothing has gone wrong with these batteries, that they haven't exploded from heat on them, literal metal breaking through from being expelled from the magnetic fields for any chance? There are so many things here that could have gone wrong, and so far the biggest surprise is that the circuit board didn't die, and the sparks were bigger than he thought, and he had to dodge them.
Yeah, it's like that one explodes a bit softer than the magnesium did. That is crazy.
Let's try the same thing with ferrocerium.
Okay. It just popped.
Yeah, it's like
just gone.
that one explodes a bit softer than the magnesium did. That's cool. In fact, I bet ya.
I just realized I'm
Nice,
backing up
science
for
is kidding.
safety, and I'm not even there. Just is it still live?
Oh, that's fun.
No, it's
I
just
think
hot.
titanium should be even more impressive since it has such a high melting
And this
point.
one that did the white sparks. So
Oh, jeez.
dude. I should probably blink at some time. Hi everyone, welcome to your epilepsy simulator.
And that's how to
I
light the
speak
entire
was
yard on
flat
fire.
now.
I love it.
Epilepsy simulator.
All right,
There we go.
Titanium flamethrower.
Yeah, they're going a direct way, right towards
Yes,
the batteries.
got it.
And he lit the ground on fire. Oh, he has something over there to burn
Okay,
intentionally.
Huh, nice. Before light bulbs were a thing, there was something called a carbon arc lamp that was pretty much just an electric candle. Well, I want to try making one with my batteries.
I've never heard
I've
of this.
connected a couple chonky graphite rods to some cable. I'm going to try initiating an arc by tapping them together.
Wow, that is incredibly bright. I smell like nitrogen oxides or something from that. Look how hot
God
that is.
damn.
I'm gonna apply a really heavy neutral density filter. That way you can hopefully see what that arc looks like.
Oh, so we can actually see a bit of it now? Actually, I want to go back a second and see if I can take
That
it
way
in
you can
slow
hopefully
motion.
see what that arc
Scene by
looks
scene.
like.
We're getting a little closer. The connection is coming up. Any second. It literally goes nothing, and then it just glows. It's coming down. We can probably get a scene of it in a second, or it's still wavering. Oh, here it goes. It's down to just being on fire. Yeah, you can see the points are... It almost looks like they melted into each other. And yeah, because a piece of it is now down below as well.
Now it's hard to tell, but that arc's actually getting huge. It's like hitting the ground there. That's not just from the splatter from the burning electrodes. The arc is gigantic. The magnetic field keeps throwing it around.
Oh. God damn. He's basically creating a new sun on the ground. To quote
I think it's time to revisit
Joaquin
the huge
Martinez in
bolt
chat.
that I
That's the
sent
scariest
out
no
earlier.
kiss you've ever seen.
All right,
Yeah, I agree
got
with you
a
on that
fresh
one.
new 1-inch bolt in there. Hopefully this time will be the charm.
He just keeps taking this further and further. And now that he's upgraded this side, I wonder how long before he upgrades this side to get a little more juice out of it. Because at this point, that seems to be the part that you need.
Here we go.
Oh, it hasn't lost connection yet. Did it literally melt through its own connection points to break the circuit?
Oh, it melted.
It looks like it
Oh,
melted.
look at that. It finally burned through. Wow.
It is
There's
red
so
hot.
much heat coming off of that right now.
It's literally lit
Yeah,
the
I'm
wood
pretty
on
sure
fire.
The radiation coming off of that bolt lit that wood on fire. Wow. That thing got hot.
It melted the plastic too on the corners.
I clocked a peak of just a hair under 50,000 amps there. That's quite a bit more than the average lightning strike, and for a much longer duration too. Total circuit power there was on the order of 3 megawatts.
You should not be measuring anything in mega.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's pretty cool.
Oh, it is cool, but also
Any desk. Yeah. It was their idea. It's
they decided to give him this idea. Oh, okay. I'm now afraid of any desk. I don't even know what they do. I'm afraid that if you don't give them money, they're going to give him more. Oh, that's the point of this video. Give us money or we'll give him ideas, say?
insane. That's right. This video is sponsored by AnyDesk. In fact, this entire video was their idea, which definitely makes them my coolest sponsor.
So, what is AnyDesk?
They actually gave him the
AnyDesk gives
idea.
you lightning fast connection to all your devices.
For example, I don't even need to be near this terrifying battery bank when I want to blow something up with it.
I can walk into an Arby's 1,000 miles from my lab
I thought he wanted to be safer.
and remotely fire the batteries in a tiny fraction of a second. I love the future.
Not sponsored by
AnyDesk isn't
Arby's.
only useful for shorting 100 car batteries. You can remotely control and manage all your devices with low
Is that
latency
video editing?
and on low bandwidth.
Oh shit, that's actually pretty good.
The other guys are notorious for being laggy at the worst possible times. But AnyDesk is always lightning fast.
That's one way to deal with
If you're
Adele.
cursed by being the most tech-proficient member of your family or friend group, well, AnyDesk can save you time and frustration there too.
You can remotely support loved ones from wherever you want to be. AnyDesk is free for personal use and offers business plans that are custom
Alienware,
tailored
really?
to your IT
Huh.
and work from home needs.
Download AnyDesk now at anydesk.com/styro.
So yeah, a big thank you to AnyDesk for sponsoring this video.
They
That's all I
actually had
gotta
the
say.
CEO write
Took a
up,
lot
hey, would you
longer to
do
make
this?
video
And
than
he
I
did it.
expected. Now, part of that was I probably spent too much time with the 12-volt experiments, but also is I really didn't know what to expect from 100 car batteries. So I mean, with most of my videos,
I take it back. I thought this is going to be crazy was one of the craziest things and the scariest things you could hear from StyroPyro. No. I don't know what to expect is now my new scariest phrase in the English language. Because that means he's taking the precautions he thinks he needs, where normally that's enough because he knows his stuff. Here, it's an experiment. He's probably not protected enough.
I have a pretty good idea of what the end product is going to look like.
But
with
considering
these, I
magnetic
just-
fields were already
I
a
really
thing.
didn't know. I mean, I just had to like throw things to the wall to see what stuck. And this led to a lot of failed experiments. But at least a few of them were interesting.
I tried microwaving the output of the batteries, hoping it would make a super hot plasma. But
Did
the
it?
most I could get was a pop. The
Eh.
voltage just isn't high enough for this kind of thing. I also tried saltwater electrolysis, which did work in splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen.
But
It just wasn't quite exciting enough. I was hoping for a violent boiling effect, but I'd need quite a bit more voltage to pull it off in a setup like this.
could he?
My most disappointing failure was trying to crush a pipe via magnetic pinch. So back in
It
the
just
late
blew out.
1800s, a lightning rod was mysteriously crushed inward by a lightning strike.
Oh,
And then in 1905, a couple scientists made the connection that it was crushed magnetically by the huge currents that passed through it.
oh.
They estimated that a current of 20,000
1905.
amps, along with some melting, is what did the pipe in. In order to replicate the effect, I rigged up some pipe with fuses to prevent the pipe from melting all the way through. With each trial, I made the fuse thicker and thicker, which allowed the pipe to heat more and more with each run. I was achieving currents of over 40,000 amps, and the fuses were detonating in these trials. Unfortunately, there was no pipe crushing, even when I let the pipe itself pop from the current. It turns out, it was the alternate explanation that was closer to being correct.
Oh!
A later analysis determined that the rod was actually hit by an unusually powerful superbolt of 150,000 amps, with no melting at all.
Since the pressure on the pipe is proportional.
Hi, I am today years old, and I found out that super lightning bolts are a thing. Thanks, nature. You're scary.
To the square of the current going through it. That means I'm not even getting close to what's needed at 40 kiloamps. Now, if I had a few hundred more car batteries, well then yeah, I could pull it off. But for what that would cost, I'd rather build a more accurate lightning machine.
As a whole, the
Kitty! Kitty in your batteries. That's maybe not a good idea. They're all
My
disconnected.
channel has a history of circuits that operate much more complex than the schematic would lead you to believe, and this one takes the cake for that. I mean, it's basically the first circuit you had seen in electronics 101 class. It's just a battery, switch, and resistor.
Yeah.
Now, of course,
It's
there's
just a lot
there's a lot more resistances in reality. The cables have resistance, the switch has a resistance, there's contact resistance, even the batteries themselves have an internal resistance.
Really?
Now, none of this is easy to measure without just building the whole circuit and putting a huge amount of current through it. In the all-parallel arrangement, I couldn't get past 15,000 amps, and I was really disappointed by this. Where was the resistance coming from?
Only 15,000 amps. Okay, sure, that's fine.
The battery resistance is negligible here, and it's not the cables either. I'm using the thickest wire in the American wire gauge system, and I'm running 10 of those in parallel.
That's a
Now,
wire?
as a side note, there's no measurement that's more American than the American
Rules
wire
of
gauge.
thumb.
Anyway, the resistance was nearly all in the contact points, and rewiring the bank for 60 volts was able to overcome most of that.
But
In this arrangement,
could you wire it
the
for
limiting
higher?
factor is the battery internal resistance, which means that most of the circuit power is actually going into heating the batteries. I scoped the voltage across a
Is there any
volt
way
when
to
zapping
preheat
it,
the battery
and it dropped
then?
to 6 volts. Yikes.
Now the hardest part about this project was actually coming up with a switch. So I mean, you can't just buy a switch like this that can, disconnect these huge currents, at least for less than you'd pay for all these batteries. So my original intention was to build a solid state switch using like a huge array of MOSFETs. I realized that would probably have a really high chance of catastrophic failure. So,
And you didn't
I
choose it for that
nerd-sniped
reason.
The members
Because
of my
honestly,
Discord
a
server
lot of people
in hopes
would.
that they would come up with a solution.
This was a unique challenge, but I got a lot of creative ideas ranging from MOSFETs to mechanical devices, and even a cursed mercury switch. The
What?
Tesla coil master Greg Lay suggested
If they made a mercury switch, is mercury magnetic? Because with the fields he's throwing around, that could have done some insane shit. And might have actually ended up tripping it before he meant to.
something hydraulic, which gave me the idea to modify a log splitter. I bought a cheap log splitter and some monstrous copper plates, and then brought them to my friend Josh to weld them up. It was his idea to use the internal spring mechanism to switch it on, which significantly helped keep the switch resistance low when firing. As a side note, this is the same Josh in my early pyro experiment videos that predate my YouTube channel.
He did this before YouTube. So in the early 2000s, he was probably already doing this. And considering what he sounded like there, that is, I'm guessing, 15 to 13 years old version of StyroPyro already blowing stuff up.
So yeah, thanks to Josh for building the switch. Thanks to all my Discord nerds for the engineering consult. And thanks to AnyDesk for both sponsoring this video and giving
What
me
are
the
we going
video
to do with
idea
the
in the first
batteries now that
place.
he's done with them?
Finally, I'd like to give an ode to the lead-acid battery. These things are tough as nails, invented way back in 1859, making them the oldest rechargeable battery technology.
They're
They're
rechargeable?
also the most recycled consumer product in the US, making them the most sustainable battery technology. To top it off, they're the preferred source of charge for electric eels, fulfilling a critical role in aquatic environments. Thanks for watching. With a this
Did he just throw a bunch of batteries in there, then jump in to fish them out? Okay, well, that just happened. I legitimately do not have the words to express the levels of what the actual fuck I'm going through right now. But a lot of them could be summed up as, yeah, that just happened. Okay. It's all fun and games until someone in the comments mentions, yeah, you should check out the 100 batteries in parallel video. It's a nice warm-up. I don't know what it's a warm-up to, but I'm scared. And I know it'll be awesome when we get to it, but also, yeah. He's insane. And the craziest part about this is that the CEO of AnyDesk is the one who pitched them this idea. So by default, the crazier guy is running AnyDesk. For everyone who works there, maybe you should consider running. He probably knows your address. He's probably chipped you so he can find you remotely. But at least this way you have a few more seconds to live before he decides to release the hounds. I don't know if this is a joke. I don't know if it's real. But I think if he's giving StyroPyro ideas, he's probably already that far gone. Oh, God. Also, apparently their stuff actually works. I might want to grab it for other reasons. But still.